gentlemen, change lanes to practice. We have 7.5 more minutes. The clock is ticking. Just while the guys are warming up, we're going to be passing out the green recap sheets. So you'll turn those in after each 5-game Baker set. Fill them out and then turn them into the tournament officer here at the counter after each 5-game Baker set. practice is over. Practice is over. The lanes will come up in the arrows. You'll be able to get tournament play. Once again, we want to thank all of you for coming. It's a pleasure to have you here every year for our tournament. We hope to see you back here again soon. Good luck today. High scores.
Good morning and welcome back to BowlTV for the 2018 Hoosier Classic taking place at Western Bowl in Indianapolis, Indiana. My name is Aaron Smith with USBC Communications, and I'm working alongside Emil Williams Jr. this weekend as we have the final Tier 1 event of the 2017-2018 USBC Collegiate season underway. Had an exciting day on BowlTV, more than 15 hours of coverage between men's and women's qualifying. We are back here bright and early in Indianapolis for the second and final block qualifying for men's competition. They had 6 traditional games yesterday, and now back for 15 Baker games. So they'll stay on the same pair of lanes for 5 games before moving to their next pair. They'll switch lanes each game, just trying to get as much total pinfall as possible to try and move into that top 8 when it's all said and done to advance to the Baker bracket, which will help determine our overall champion. 78 men's teams on the lanes right now in this 80-lane facility. The women will be coming up a little bit later today for their final block, but that will actually be running at the same time as our bracket final on the men's side. So we will be focusing on the men's bracket, and then the women's final will take place a little further after that. We'll get you that full rundown in a few moments. New pattern today, 44 feet in length. You can find that in the description below the video. Using the Kegel Current Oil, 27.248 for the total volume. It looks pretty flat out there. So we'll see if it's as tough as it looks. Joining us on our featured pairs, lanes 71 through 74, Concordia, Martin Methodist, UNLV, and St. Ambrose. So today we'll be moving pretty quickly here as we get through our 3 different sets. 15 total games. We'll go by just like that, but we'll keep you up to date. We'll get scores after every 5-game block. So we won't have it game by game by game like we did yesterday, since teams are bowling that quickly, but at the end of 5, the great H2M management crew will be sure to get us taken care of, get us the updates as we head down the home stretch. So big thank you to everyone for joining us yesterday and for joining us here in the early going Sunday morning. Big day in bowling overall here in Indianapolis, along with the Hoosier Classic, the PBA's 60th anniversary classic also taking place across town at Woodland Bowl. That's going to be on ESPN this afternoon. So all the bowling you can handle on a Sunday. Available to you just like that. So sit tight and enjoy. So we kick off our first of 3 sets, 5 games apiece, 15 for the day to determine our top 8 here at the 49th annual Hoosier Classic. right, a quick recap of competition after day number 1. Wisconsin-Whitewater leading the way on the men's side. Had a big 1273 in the traditional 5-player format to kick things off. Led after the first round and led the rest of the way out. Got a little bit closer in the standings, but the Warhawks finished with a 65-07 total. It's nearly a 217 average for the team for their 6 games yesterday. Wichita State moved into second place with a big 12-12 finish. They sit at 64-76. Savannah College of Art and Design Savannah, 64-55. We'll have them on the featured pairs today. They sit in third at 64-55 once again. And Calumet in fourth at 64-07. Lindenwood at 63-60. Rounding out the top 5, going a few spots further. Weber International in 6th at 63-31. William Penn in 7th at 62-94. McHenry 62-55, holding on to that last spot heading into today's Baker format. But Pikeville 62-50 and Robert Morris, Illinois 62-50, right there, not too far back. On the women's side, the 4-time defending champion Wichita State leads the way. Moved into the lead during the final game, 61-38. Newman in second, 61-02. And Robert Morris, Illinois, 60-68. Those were the only 3 teams that were plus on the women's side. St. Ambrose was in fourth, 59-78. Notre Dame, Ohio, 59-34. St. Francis, Illinois, 58-97. Grandview, 56-71. Lindenwood at 56-47. Those are your top 8 on the women's side. Weber International, the first team out, 55-77. Pattern proven pretty tough here in the early going. Looks like our high game is going to be in the 160s between these 4 programs. St. Ambrose 160 on the nose. UNLV, there's Dallas Leong, former junior Team USA member, had a 296 yesterday as well. Able to close things out and get to 150 for UNLV. Not the way he was hoping to get it. Concordia can get to 148. Strike on their field ball, and 166 the max for the Bob Learn-led Martin Methodist. Pattern length of 44 feet. You can find the graph in the description below the video. So playing tough here. Nearly 1-to-1 looking at the ratios. So shot making at a premium. Here this morning. So teams now will switch lanes, get their first attempt at the other lane. They did get 15 minutes of practice, 7.5 on each. All right, let's see. No, we had a few questions in there. So Austin, thanks for joining us again. This is actually a newer format for the Hoosier. You are correct. Usually used to seeing usually 4 game Baker sets, if you will. to most events, but this isn't most events. This is the granddaddy of them all during the regular season. Hoosier Classic. This is actually kind of a newer format for this event. Previously, it used to be just 9 traditional games, no Baker element until you got to the match play portion, and for a while there was just 9 games all. Total pinfall would determine the actual champion. But now the tournament staff is settled on 6 traditional games, 15 Baker, to determine the teams making it to the Baker bracket final, as well as where they sit in the standings afterwards for the team ranking point system. As we do approach sectionals, this is the final regular season event for USBC Collegiate. Sectionals will be announced this upcoming Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on BowlTV. So if you haven't subscribed, do so when you get the opportunity. So you're the first to know about great events like that. So sectional is going to be held March 9th through the 11th. That'll be the team and the singles portion. Locations this year: Dallas, Texas; Fairview Heights, Illinois; Smyrna, Tennessee; and Stratford, New Jersey. So teams anxiously awaiting to see where they're going to be going. Some teams on the bubble, trying to solidify their spot this week here at the Hoosier, just to get in for the opportunity to make a run at the top 4, in the hopes of making it to the Intercollegiate Team Championships taking place in April in Lincoln, Nebraska. Our good buddy Nick Harishny. Can't wait to find out who's going where for sectionals. Helping us out this week. So thanks to Nick, all the hard hours he put in this week. Make sure these kids have an awesome tournament experience. Stepping up for St. Ambrose here is Brent Boho. We had a great showing. We had a great showing at the 2018 USBC Team USA trials. He made the stepladder finals of the U.S. amateur portion of the event and earned a spot on Junior Team USA. But Brent has some trouble here, bowling in the anchor spot for the Fighting Bees. He's the ever popular 4-8-10. So don't get to see that one too often. So give it a run here. Chops. The 4 off the 8. St. Ambrose and Martin Methodist in the mix heading into Baker competition today. They're going to need to make up some ground, but definitely not out of it. St. Ambrose in 14th. They were at plus 90, cut at plus 255, so some work to do. Martin Methodist at plus 77 in 16th place. Concordia, also not too far back, plus 34 entering today's competition. UNLV a little further back in the standings, 62nd. heading into Sunday's competition. Individually on the men's side, we do know our all-tournament team, since our individual portion of the event concluded yesterday. The 6 traditional games. Savannah College of Art and Design, Savannah's Alex Glinsky rolled a big 278 in his finale to earn the top spot, finishing with a 6-game block of 14-29. That's more than a 238 average for his 6 games. Sitting in second, Wichita State's Cortez Schenk, 1407. Vincent's Tyler Perry followed with 1391. Pikeville's Matthew Cleary, 1385. And Davenport's Sean Taylor, 1360. Rounded out the top 5 on the women's side. Robert Morris, Illinois' Maddie Brandos is the top individual, finishing with a 1272 total. Weber International's Caitlin Johnson was second, 1260. St. Francis, Illinois' Abby Ragsdale, 1259 in third. Notre Dame, Ohio's Alicia Noon, 1255, and the reigning player of the year and ISC champion Sydney Brummett from Wichita State rounded out the top 5 with 1253. Team settling in a little bit here after not the most fun start this morning on BowlTV. A little tough out of the gates. Waiting for that coffee to kick in. 166, the high game between our 4 teams. Looks like business is going to pick up a little bit here in game 2. Men's Baker Bracket Final scheduled to start at 12:30 p.m. Eastern right here on BowlTV. The women's final, 4 p.m. Eastern start time, also here on BowlTV. Place to be. Savannah College of Art and Design. Savannah, one pair to our right, has a chance to get into the 220s if they can find a double in the 10th frame. SCAD was in 3rd place in the overall standings heading into today's final round of qualifying. 187 for St. Ambrose. 191 out there for Martin Methodist. UNLV looking at the tough 410 split. Dallas can find a way to cover that up. can get to 193 max score. Concordia, a few frames behind the other teams at the moment. They can still get to 191. Can clean up the spare, strike out the 9th and the 10th. UNLV going to wait to get that pin cleared out of the right gutter. Big thanks to the staff here at Western Bowl for all their hard work throughout the week as well. Once again to H2M Management. Helping make sure these student athletes have a great experience year in and year out at the Hoosier. The 50th anniversary coming up in 2019. But we want to know whose billboard we're going to see. I keep saying billboard. Whose masking unit we're going to see signed and more when we come back to Western Bowl next year. The part of the tradition of winning is getting to essentially graffiti one of the masking units. Lanes 41 and 42, we have the 2018 edition, just waiting for teams to be able to leave their mark on it. Above 71 and 72, you can see the 47th Hoosier Classic. That was back in 2016. Lindenwood and Wichita State doing their thing. UNLV finishes up with 181. So they prepared to switch, make it over to game number 3. Methodist 191, going to be the high tally for our featured teams here. And in game number 2, Concordia still has 164 out there. Everyone getting their coffee in the chat room. Emil Williams Jr. has his tea ready though.
Do have the tea.
Get through the day.
Yesterday I didn't drink it all. Today I'm going to start very early. I generally take a couple sips, you know, and then put it down and then get caught up in bowling. And then all of a sudden, it's like a 3/4 cup of
not so hot tea.
Not so hot tea. Then it turns into a version of iced tea. Or just cold tea.
Nobody has time for that.
That is correct.
Concordia finishes up with 154. Game 3 of 5. Moving right along.
You're right about the chat. Everyone needs coffee.
It's a quality catalyst to start the day. I feel spare shooting is going to be at a premium on this 44-foot condition. The ability to avoid mistakes and give your team an opportunity to take advantage of a double or three bagger when you can get it. Going to be big here, especially in the early going. Pretty flat, 44-foot condition. St. Ambrose, though, finding some momentum here. 5 consecutive strikes, looking to make it 6. Martin Methodist, coached by Bob Learn Jr. You can see Mr. 300 there in the middle of your screen. I guess Bob may have stopped at the 60th anniversary PBA celebration last night in Indianapolis. Good to see his good buddy Ron Moore, senior Team USA teammate, get inducted into the PBA Hall of Fame.
3 very good individuals get inducted last night.
Looking forward to hearing the full report from Matt Cannizzaro, our colleague who got to be a part of the 50th back in 2000, and I think that was 2009 they had the celebration. So they couldn't miss the 60th.
Ron Moore, Chris Barnes, and the kind of the architect of Royal Penn Centers here. Western Bowl, Woodland Bowl, Expo Bowl, Don Mitchell, the late Don Mitchell.
Quite a class indeed. St. Ambrose, a chance to get into the 230s here. You like to strike in this situation, but now you have to kind of bide your time.
Yeah, that is a well, it can be taken one way or another, or performed one way or another. St. Ambrose, you know, was striking, so they want to probably continue their rhythm and not slow down. Well, of course, conversely, UNLV is not striking and throwing, you know, 2 shots. So there's, you know, there's going to be a bit of a delay, and St. Ambrose is going to, you know, have to wait. Now, also though, in other situations in Baker, especially in match play, most of the time you'll see this, that one team may intentionally, and yes, it does happen. I'm saying it.
Whoa,
because I've experienced it, and I've seen it. Some teams do intentionally, you know, slow themselves down as a bit of a, you know, I don't know if you want to say mind game, or, but to try to affect the rhythm, you know, one way or another. Sometimes they just need a break. Hey, we've just been bowling terribly. Last 3 games have been awful, and this is what we need to do to be successful. Other times it's, you know, our opponent is really good currently. You know, let's try to not play to their rhythm. It's almost like basketball where, yeah, you get an up-tempo team. Oh, they want to get up and down the floor, and then generally the other squad wants to not have them do that, and so they'll pick them up full court, or then force them on the other side on defense to, you know, kind of play half court.
yes. But I agree, the pace of play, very crucial in the Baker team aspect. A few folks in the chat room new to Baker, so a great opportunity to kind of explain the format. Obviously, this is a team competition here, but in Baker, unlike yesterday, we had 6 traditional games with 5 players on a team, all bowling 1 full game. In Baker, it's the whole team bowling one single game. So in the Baker format, there will be 5 players, and the lineup, or the way players will bowl, if you're the leadoff bowler in the lineup, you'll bowl the 1st and the 6th frame. If you're the 2nd bowler, you bowl the 2nd and the 7th, 3rd and the 8th, the 4th and the 9th, and then the 5th and the 10th. So technically, you only get 2 shots per game. Obviously, coaches can sub in and out, change the lineup as they please, but generally with a Baker lineup, you know, your leadoff bowler is kind of might be your most consistent, maybe, you know, a guy or gal who's gonna go out there and, you know, give you a good read of the lane. It's gonna be a good spare shooter. It's gonna fill the frame and kind of get the team off to a right place. Also could be kind of a high energy guy to, you know, kind of get that team fired up to start a match. A lot of times the team's top player will be in the anchor spot, getting the opportunity to fill that 10th frame, hopefully throw 3 strikes, have the ice in the veins if needed in a close match. So there's a certain dynamic to setting your lineup in order to maximize the skills you have among your team, but it really involves a full team effort for the team to do well overall. You know, in the traditional 5-player team game, you can really rely on 1 or 2 players to have a good set and kind of carry the team. That does not work so well in Baker. If you have 2 guys striking and 3, you know, opening, not filling the frames, that's going to get to your score real quickly. So it's all about communicating, working together, filling your frames, and putting yourself in an opportunity to take advantages like St. Ambrose did. 230. That's a pretty solid Baker game no matter where, especially here at the Hoosier, with as tough as this pattern looks in the early going. Baker format, you get to see it a lot at the high school and collegiate levels, and USA Bowling, another program that features a Baker competition as well. That's actually a 4-player setup in the USA Bowling program. So the lineup structure works a little differently because 2 players actually get to bowl 3 frames, so you just want to structure your lineup based off of that. But the collegiate ranks typically 5 players, so 2 frames per game. And this is the format they use throughout the postseason. So sectionals as well as the intercollegiate team championships, all Baker. So you got to work together as a team the whole way to really do your thing and make your run at the Helmer Cup.
You got to do your thing and bowl.
Whoa. Yeah, Syracuse. Yeah, Open Championships.
Yeah, you're all right. It's what you just said there, Smith. It is a bit of an equalizer in some cases, but in the point you mentioned in regards to team games or traditional team games, and you can have a couple people carry you throughout a set. You know, you do need all 5. Not necessarily striking, but, you know, everyone just needs to kind of play their role in Baker. And if your role is get to the pocket and make spares, then you better get to the pocket and make spares. No one's going to be upset at filling frames, you know, quality frames in Baker. If you have an open or 2, it happens. But you know, when you're consistently, you know, a little lost, maybe not hitting in the pocket, not getting entry angle, not matching up, that's where scores can quickly drop, because obviously, you know, it's not a lot of time to make up. 2 opens a game in Baker are tough to overcome.
UNLV finished with 143. Martin Methodist 157. Concordia still get to 226 this game and put together a pretty nice showing. Game 4 over on 73 and 74. Concordia gives it the business to start the 10th. Now, for folks who know, I've gotten the chance to meet Mr. Williams here. We joke a lot we don't joke about, but we like to give him a hard time because he's so incredibly modest about being a past intercollegiate team champion back in 2005 with Lindenwood. But a modest young man, you know, not one to brag, you know, very, very even keel when you see him in the professional landscape. However, as the leadoff man of that Lindenwood team, and the press release written about that, they were called the human firework.
Yes.
So, and you know, you were kind enough to show me some of the videos from sectionals. You know, we got to see, you can watch the finals on YouTube. And you were an excited young man in those situations, bringing the energy. And I think that's a big part of that leadoff spot as well, is you gotta get hype. You gotta get things going for your team, and you certainly did that. Letting them know that not only your teammates, but the opponents know that Lindenwood is here to do big things.
You know, Baker first of all, match play in general is just different overall. You know, you're bowling team versus team with something on the line. There's a win and a loss involved, especially obviously the higher the stakes, the more the heart rate may go up. But you know, specifically within the Baker format, you know, as we talked about, not a lot of frames, or I should say not a lot of shots per person, of course. And so each shot counts 100%. But when you take that into match play, you know, gets a little ramped up. You know, sometimes there's a little talking.
Little talk.
You know, sometimes there's good competition, great competition. You know, you're not meaning to be you know, inconsiderate or rude as a competitor, but you know, no friends on the lanes, you know, that kind of thing. So all that really goes into it. But most importantly to me is, again, knowing your role. If you are leading off, you got to do two things for sure. One, you got to be able to read the lanes, properly communicate what you saw to the rest of the team, so then the team, of course, can follow, so on and so forth. So if your ball checked early and you thought you threw it good, you know, essentially once you get down to 4 and 5, they probably should have made a move by then based on the communication from 1, 2, and 3. And the second thing is there must be some energy level, which is kind of an oxymoron for my personality, because I'm not a high energy individual. I can, when I need to know the proper times to do so. But generally, as you said, I'm a pretty even keel guy. I don't get too high, I don't get too low. Even when the sky is falling, generally I'm, kind of okay. I know how to not show that. Might be different on the inside, but I got to keep everyone else around me calm. So if I'm calm, everyone else will be okay. But match play and really just Baker in general will kind of take you out of that. You'll have natural energy if you are not high energy at all. If you bowl Baker, you'll automatically, it's just almost impossible not to be energetic in this format. Now what we're watching here, of course, teams are still kind of getting used to what's on the lanes, still trying to figure it out. It's early, but I guarantee if they came in right now and they said, all right, the first team to win 2, moves on, then there'd be all types of yelling.
Oh, for sure.
Energetic. I mean, we'll see that when the round of 8 begins this afternoon. But those are the things you need: high energy, and be able to read the lanes, and be able to just effectively communicate what you are seeing, as so it will have a positive effect on the team. It could have a negative impact if what what you're seeing doesn't necessarily coincide with what someone else is seeing, and that happens. It's just kind of how you see the lanes. So, everyone sees them differently depending on your ball roll and what you need the ball to do to strike. But it is a complete team effort from whether it's 1 to 5, 1 to 8, however many players are on the roster. Only 5 can bowl at a time, but those who aren't bowling play as much of a vital role as those who are. You got to be ready. You got to stay ready. We talked about field shots yesterday, getting traditional. You get a few more field shots in Baker because there's more opportunity. It seems like although one might say, well, there's 5 traditional games, how could there be more time in Baker for more field shots? It's odd how it works, but you tend to get more field shots in Baker, and they're also almost needed more often too, because the games go by so quick. If someone's lost, you gotta stop the plug, stop the leak immediately.
That's a great point, how quickly it goes. But yeah, most coaches probably a little more hesitant to, make that substitution during a traditional game. Obviously, 10 frames for one player, it gives them time to figure it out and kind of get loose. Especially, some of your bigger players, who generally perform well. You're going to give them the opportunity to feel out a few frames, and maybe if they get to the 10th, or if it's just going, completely south, maybe they'll make a switch earlier. But a few more opportunities to interject folks into the lineup, especially, for a team that has, right-handers and left-handers. Certain spare combinations tend to favor, a left-hander more than a right-hander. An opportunity to get them an opportunity to at least get loose, get out there. Washout's a very common example. If a right-hander leaves a washout, that's a pocket shot for a lefty. So a chance for them to not only probably help the team, also to get lined up if they're going to make their way into the lineup. Felt I said that 1 million miles per hour.
Maybe. Well, it's okay.
Felt like Brant there. Let's go.
Let's go.
We are cruising along here. 3 sets of 5, 15 total Baker games this morning. We will know our total pinfall and our top 8. For all the good stuff that Emil just talked about. Coming up 12:30 p.m. Eastern right here on BowlTV.
Appreciate everyone tuning in this morning. It is early. I'm up on 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 nearly on Central Time Zone, and boy, if some are up on the West Coast here in the United States, that how about that? Thank you.
That's dedication right there. That is a loyal collegiate bowling fan. We appreciate that support, as do these student athletes. Great showing all week here at Western. Packed house. Now UNLV kind of putting up one of those games that, as a Baker team, you like to see. Team hasn't found a double yet. They found a way to make their spares stay clean, avoid the big trouble, and now leaving it up to their anchor Dallas Leong. Chance to throw a double here, get to 208. And in the grand scheme of things, 2-8, you don't, not necessarily, that's not a big move on the radar, just kind of scrolling through the score sheet at the end of the day. But team-wise, that's something that can really get you started. A lot of positives to take away from an effort like that. Although he didn't strike, so they can only shoot 198. But still.
That's a solid game, no less. I mean, you can't be upset at that game as a team. And I didn't see, all of the shots, but one of 4 at this point, right? 5 single pins. It's hard to be upset. If you lose that game in a match play type situation, just move on to the next game. Try to make some minor adjustments, but you don't do too much. Unless it was just so blatant. You just left 5 flat 10s or something like that. But if you run a couple 7s or wrapped 10 or left an 8, it's hard to do too much in that type of situation.
Now, Emil, a question I don't know if I've ever asked you. But obviously, a lot of time on the lanes at LU. A lot of Baker games. Did you ever have the opportunity to shoot a Baker 300?
I don't think so. Actually, I feel that's wrong. I want to say yes, but I don't recall any specific situation. But I want to say yes. We had some pretty fun times in Baker. I would say as a whole, we had some really, really, really good players. And if necessary, they could carry a team. But collectively, we were better overall as a Baker team. Much, much better. Our chemistry was always good anyway, and it translated in the Baker format, which I think it requires the ultimate team communication. And guys who were good at what they do. If you're the best career shooter on the team, I mean, it's no question how you would perform generally in a Baker setting. If you strike a lot, best players generally, 4 or 5, sometimes 1. Probably gonna be in those roles, and fill in gaps when necessary. But to your question, I feel like we did. But I couldn't tell you any specifics. You're going to make me ask some people, though. I have to find out.
All right.
I know we didn't shoot one. We did not shoot the Baker 300. But I don't recall really getting to a 10th frame and having an opportunity. Game 4 we're heading to.
It looks like we're starting one more, so looks like we're starting 5 on 73 and 74. It does go quick. We've said that, say that a few times, but the excitement of it all, hopefully we'll stay up to date on that. But still got final shots here from Martin Methodist and Concordia. 153 out there for the Redhawks. 169 still out there for Concordia.
Well, it's nothing like the nice smell of popcorn at 8:35. Cafe here at Western Bowl they've been off and running probably since we got here about 6.
Since then, yeah. I think I heard the first order about 15 minutes after we got here. Coming up next on BowlTV, in our second set of 5, we'll have Kent State Aquinas, Savannah College of Art and Design Savannah, and Missouri Baptist. Third set will include Midland, Penn State-Berks, Wisconsin-Madison, and St. John's. Midland, our defending champion, was 19th heading into today's competition. So they had some work to do today in Baker. Interesting question from Tammy in the chat. Let's say you are way down on the list in the standings from yesterday. What do you say to the student athletes to encourage them to get back into it? And how reasonable is it that they can? I think for a lot of it, you know, obviously this is the end of the season, end of the regular season. For some teams, you know, this is their final event of the year. They're not going to make sectionals, unfortunately. So if, you know, you're a team in that position, you know, I'm there telling them, you know, let's enjoy this moment together. Let's make the best of it. We've worked hard all year. You know, maybe 2017, 2018 wasn't our year, but let's look ahead to 2018, 2019 season and kind of, you know, set the early pace for it, even though, you know, we're going to take some time off. You know, team's going to change up a little bit, seniors moving out. Of course, for those seniors, that's going to be probably an emotional moment, those final few frames, but we just really try to kind of rally everyone together to finish out the season strong. However, you know, if I'm a team that's in the mix, going to have some postseason play, and you know what? Yesterday didn't go so hot. You know, this is the type of adversary moment that, you know, you want to see your team be able to bounce back from, to show that resilience moving ahead, because you're going to need to do that come postseason time if you want to get to the dance. So that's where I would start. I hope my team would respond.
Well said, Aaron. I would agree. I would agree. I like to call those character building moments. I mean, because you could easily just toss it in, you know, just kind of go through the motions for a few games until you time to go home. Or you can find out maybe a little more about your own game, your teammates. Use it as an opportunity to build. You know, maybe think about trying different things, you know, on the lanes. Yeah, it's not going to affect you. And so, you know, maybe you look to say, wow, you know, I wish this is something that maybe we could have done, you know, previously or something like that. So, opportunity to talk about kind of when you are when you compete in the same center kind of every year. Maybe you learn something more about the building itself, the lanes. There's always an opportunity to learn, no matter the situation. I think I've talked enough about you know, my generations of teams who bowled the Hoosier Classic. We did not bowl very well, and so we were in that position a lot. So perhaps, you know, a good solid effort on Sunday morning would help us. And then there's, yeah, even then, it's, yeah, we were not very good yesterday. But, you know, the difference there, kind of in the two scenarios, we knew we'd be going to sectional. So, you know, get what we can, learn what we can, and in some cases just need to throw it away. Not on the lanes, but you need to remove it once you leave the building mentally and not worry about what happened before.
It's a great point, and one we saw demonstrated just a few weeks ago at the Tournament of Champions. Matt O'Grady position round to make the TV show. Probably had his worst game of the week. Shot 154 to barely hang on to the 5th spot in the step ladder. So obviously a great week of bowling to get there, but you know, not the way you want to finish that out going into into that situation. Could have affected him. However, OG said, gonna reset. New day coming. I'm gonna do cool things on TV and win 4 matches and win my first major. Tenth frame, 73 and 74, pair of washouts. Fighting Bees unable to cover. They're going to finish with 170. .134 for UNLV. Still got a few frames to go. That was a rough stretch of 4 leaves right there. 3 washouts and a 2-8-10. Pattern definitely playing tricky.
I didn't expect today to be very, and I use the word easy very loosely, but, you know, thinking of kind of coming in with a game plan and just kind of going right at it. Yeah, I talked yesterday that based on Saturday's results, you know, kind of get some teams to feel pretty solid about themselves. You know, had a good block. What you almost expect, especially at the Hoosier, that okay, it's it's coming. There's going to be something that's going to throw you for a loop. There's going to be some tricky condition, and so far, at least from what we have seen, it will not be easy. It will have to be earned. The top 8 is never a guarantee, even if you enter today in the top 8. And for that matter, of course, if you enter today not in the top 8, always a run to be made.
Gotta get run. Concordia, 179 still out there. Martin Methodist will take the count, 153 out there for Bob Learn's group.
Please come to the front desk.
Both teams start off with a strike to kick off the 10th. See if they can get to those max scores. 179 finish for Concordia. Martin Methodist. .143, and that's going to conclude our first set. Of 5 here. Teams will be making their moves. Probably not too far for this one. Most of the teams in this general area. So it should be a pretty quick transition to set number 2. Again, coming up next, Kent State, Aquinas, Savannah College of Art and Design, Savannah, and Missouri Baptist.
This is the first police tape I haven't had to worry about being behind in a long time. But it's early yet. It's still early. I guess we're up.
Game 1 of set 2, moving right along here. Joined by Kent State, Aquinas, Savannah College of Art and Design, Savannah, and Missouri Baptist. We did receive an update on scores through the first set. Low scoring across the house. Some teams a little further back in the standings actually putting up the bigger sets. Indiana Bloomington, 1,071. That was the largest 5-game total. Kansas Wesleyan, 1,038. Mount Mercy, 1,025. Those were the only 3 schools plus for the first Baker block. Missouri Baptist finishes with 168. But Wisconsin-Whitewater holds the narrowest advantage. 1 single pin between them and Wichita State with 10 Baker games left to go. 74-75 for Whitewater, 74-74 for Wichita State. Savannah College of Art and Design in 3rd place is 73-90. Calumet, 4th place, 73-54. Lindenwood moves into 5th place with a 72-72. Weber International, 72-60. William Penn, 72-18. McHenry, 72-10. First team out, Pikeville, 71-50. Robert Morris, 71-03. Those are your top 10 teams. As soon as we get a digital version of this, we will include that as well, but let's see, a lot of 900s there out of those top 10 teams. No one really breaking through for a huge 5-game block. Wichita State nearly shot 1,000, 998. Martin Methodist making the most, or excuse me, Mount Mercy making the most. They're set as they moved into 17th place overall. They started the day in 27th, so that's a quick 10-pin jump. Just for averaging 205 as a team.
You know, sometimes it doesn't take much. You know, the pattern will force teams more than likely to give pins back to the field. And so if you can be one of those teams who can manage to go plus, you don't have to break records to get to the top 8. You just need to get there.
Just got to get there. .154 for Kent State, 172 for Aquinas. SCAD 178. Missouri Baptist 168. And transition quickly to game number 2. Get those names switched around up top as well.
Lineups will be a little more difficult this morning because the recaps are a little different and they can change very often. So I did manage to try to get some photos of the various recaps. And they could have changed by the time I even read them off at this point. Aquinas now on 71. With Zach Isaacs, Walter Tomlin, Dylan Pavka, Jared Edgelton, and Ryan Lovett. That's their 1 through 5. Kent State prior to, and it could be different, was Emma DeMasi, Jamie Brown, Lucas Herman, excuse me, I'll be honest, I can't read that.
Yeah, handwriting.
That's the other caveat. You take pics of lineup sheets. Hauser. Brianna Hauser was fourth. We'll see if, again, the lineup continues to be the same. And Robert Callum is fifth. All right, so let's move over to 73. Right now, that is Missouri Baptist, led by a good buddy there, Steve Sullivan, former Lindenwood Lion. Help start the program. Previously, he had, looks like they went with Terrence Evans, Stephen Swires, Terrence Eggleston, Nick Wagner, and Garrett I'll finish that in a sec. Garrett Shaw. And SCAD, in the previous game, they went with Juan Aguilar, Andrew Blake, Benjamin Martinez, Dylan Byers, and Alex Glinsky. So, if we called the wrong name throughout the Baker set, apologize. I haven't committed names to memory with faces.
All right, folks, we have the online standings posted. 2 places you can get them. It may have updated in the description below the video. If not, you'll have to refresh, but under Baker and overall standings, that's the place to be. And of course, the Hoosier Classic Facebook page as well, posting results as they finish up. Dylan, Steve, Nick and Nick, Bo, all those guys doing their thing. So, Emil, as we kind of look at those scoring pace after that first Baker block, you kind of think scores may pick up a little bit here in this as we get more games on the lanes, but McKendree in 8th place right now at 72-10. How far back do you think? A tougher condition, 10 games to go. Just throw a number out there. If you're 200 pins out, think that's still out there? 100 pins out? With it being a little tougher out here?
Well, we got 10 games left.
10 games left. So I have no idea. I feel if you can make up 10 pins a game, though, kind of chip away at it. But then again, who knows? We might see someone pop off in 1100 here. You never know. That's a great thing. Is it's so random. You never really know what to expect.
It wouldn't surprise me if someone did. The team did do that. I know it looks a little bleak. I mean, it's tough out there. But it wouldn't shock me if we saw 1100. Yeah, I would say 200 pins could be made up. It's tough because we haven't seen kind of the full sample size. Like if we would have walked down to the middle of the house to the low end to see what's happening down there, I'd probably feel better about any prediction, but I do think it could be done. And just because of the format. All you need is really to catch one good pair. And hope that, you know, everything up until that point has been, you know, somewhat even, or you haven't given too many back at that time. But, you know, you also can't depend on catching one good pair.
Yeah, that's definitely the big thing. You want to hope it's out there, but yeah, definitely can't rely on something like that. But looking back, 200 pins back of McKendree goes to 14th place. St. Ambrose, that team, St. John's in 13th, Notre Dame, Ohio 12th, and Vincennes 11th. And then there's even a little separation there between Vincennes and Robert Morris, Illinois, between 10th and 11th. That's about, not too crazy, it's 53 pins, but one of the bigger separations. McKendree holds a 60 pin advantage over Pikeville for that final spot. A lot of hustling and bustling left to go. .188 for Aquinas, 118 for Kent State. So they prepare for their third game. I have to give a shout out, even though I was mispronouncing his school name all these years, to Aquinas head coach Charlie Tapp, 3-time PBA Tour champion, one of the best guys I ever have a chance to meet and talk to. I was fortunate enough that Charlie actually moved down to my area in Indiana for a few years, or run a pro shop over there. Got to bowl league with Charlie. So always cool to catch up with him. Great to see him here on the collegiate scene, giving back to the kids. I think this is actually the second year in a row we've caught them on the live stream as well here on BowlTV. Charlie, keep doing what you're doing. Always good to see you, buddy. The Saints off to a fantastic start here in game 2, or game 3 for them. 4 for 4 out of the gates. Aquinas was 21st overall heading into the final 10 games. They're about 400 pins back of 8th. Missouri Baptist in the books at 1-58. SCAD-Savannah. A little bit of a rough stretch here in game 2. Salvage to get to 1-58. Now we had a question about Kent State having both guys and gals on the team, and mixed teams are allowed if a program cannot field a full women's team but have female competitors who want to compete at the collegiate level. Mixed teams, however, do compete in the men's division. Notably, one of the prime examples of that is going back to, I want to say, the early 2000s. And then Missy Bellender, now Missy Parkin. That was Cal State Fullerton, right?
Yep.
Their women's team actually, I believe, they just didn't have enough female competitors come, I think, her junior year. So they started bowling with the men's team, competing against the men out there. Went on to make the ITC. She ended up being the MVP of the Intercollegiate Team Championships. I want to say that was 2003, off the top of my head. That was including the field, including players like Sean Rash, David O'Sullivan. Plenty of very, very talented folks, and Missy proved right then and there she's ready to compete with everybody. Tough 124 there for Savannah College of Art and Design, moving into game number 3. for Tammy in the chat. Yes, that is Katie Thornton down there. For Savannah. Talk about regroup, front three to start. After a rough game 2. There's some of that energy you talked about earlier, Emil, from Savannah, 4 in a row. Starting to get a little amped.
That's one of the other things too. Is you talk about the fast start. I mean, you can go from 150 to 250, and vice versa, quickly in Baker as well.
Aquinas finishes with 189 and 188 last game. Kent State starting their 8th frame with a strike. Take him when you can get him. Nice break there for Savannah. Triple the 6-pin out to make it 5 out of 6. 57 finish for Kent State. Then we'll move on to game 4 of 5 here in set 2 of 3, 2018 Hoosier Classic.
Missouri Baptist trying to turn it around as well this game. With a rough start. Certainly a good program that is brewing. See Lawrence Tech will be in the 220s over to our right. Another new program. Not sure how many years at this point they have been competing. Let's take a look. First season was 2010-2011.
Yeah, internet.
What an amazing item.
Yeah, Carl Nicolai.
He is a treasured gem.
Absolutely.
Coming up on 20 years, or this might be his 20. Yeah, I think 20 years involved. Specifically with collegebowling.com and rankings. Putting them together. Website. Everyone here has a lot to thank Carl for.
All while coaching as well, too.
All while coaching Michigan State. Volunteer, just, you know, did it because love college bowling.
Be pretty much a 100-pin difference from game 2 to game 3 for Savannah. Gonna be in the 220s here. The official tally. 223. Top score in .143 for Missouri Baptist as they will start game 4. Aquinas and Kent State already well into game 4. Nice cover there by Kent State. Taking care of the 5-10. Again, we will get standings after each of these sets, so not game by game, but Baker set by Baker set. Wisconsin-Whitewater leads by a single pin over Wichita State. Heading into this set of 5. Wisconsin-Whitewater set the pace in the early going yesterday. 12-73 out of the gates. They held on to that top spot, or they have held on to that top spot since. We'll see if Wichita State, an event that has kind of plagued the men's team over the course of the past few years, trying to right that here in 2018. Been looking good. We saw him shoot 12-12. The final game yesterday to jump into second place in the overall standings. Looking in very good shape to make it to bracket. And they looked pretty tough yesterday, so I think Gordon and company ready to join the women's team there. 4-time defending champion, while the guys have not been in the winner's circle. At this event, at least. 10th frame underway, game 4. Aquinas and Kent State. Kent State will finish with 162, 168 out there for the Saints after a strike to kick off the 10th. .156 for Aquinas. They will switch lanes and start at game 5. SCAD and Missouri Baptist hitting the halfway point of game 4. Savannah clean through 4. But trouble there in the 5th, 4-9. Pretty good shot. It was a tad high.
Appreciate everyone tuning in. If you are just joining us, you're watching the 49th annual Hoosier Classic. It's a collegiate event. Live from Western Bowl in Indianapolis, Indiana, United States. Today's broadcast is live on BowlTV, the YouTube channel of the United States Bowling Congress. The Hoosier Classic, presented by Columbia 300, H2M Management, USBC Collegiate, Make-A-Wish, Logo Infusion, Kegel, the Royal Penn Centers, On the Ball, and Brunswick. With Aaron Smith, I'm Emil Williams Jr. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to hit the thumbs up. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to BowlTV. We receive notifications when we are live, when we schedule some events, so you can be ready to watch some great content on the channel. Watching round 2 of men's qualifying. Kent State and Aquinas on 71 and 72. Missouri Baptist, so known as MOBAP, and SCAD-Savannah, the Savannah College of Arts and Design, on 73 and 74. This is the Baker format of non-traditional team games. Baker, of course, 1 game, 5 players, 2 shots apiece. There are substitutions that can be made. You could, in essence, have all 8 players in your roster, for example, bowl in 1 game. There's even some strategy that can go along with Baker as well, with lefty-righty. Spares that perhaps may be easier for a lefty to make, especially if they're in the right point of the game. All kinds of stuff. We talked about the Baker format early part of the broadcast, but so the chat is off and running. It's been pretty cool to watch some of the questions and some of the interaction amongst those in the chat. So appreciate you guys tuning in this morning. Rhodes, the question there, talent level is varied, but are games bowled scratch or is there handicap? There is no handicap. Scratch bowling only. At the collegiate level, at the professional level, and I don't think I've ever seen handicap at the high school level in my experience. No problem. Michael Savage. Dave. I don't know if anyone answered your question there, Pablo, but my opinion would be I would not call this easy by any stretch.
Scores definitely dictate that through at least the first 5 games. Only 3 teams plus. Aquinas going to get into the 220s here. One of the nicer games we've seen here on BowlTV. Through 10 games on this 44-foot condition. The Saints, as well as Kent State, going to be complete with their 5 games. Savannah and Missouri Baptist just starting game 5.
Pablo, after, let's see, 6 traditional games yesterday and 5 Baker games today that are recorded and officially on the standings at the moment. Game 5 of set number 2, so in essence game 10 finishing up here of Baker today, but Wisconsin Whitewater hold a 1-pin advantage over Wichita State. SCAD-Savannah, who we are watching on 73, is in third place. Just 85 pins back of the lead. Followed by Calumet, Lindenwood, Weber International, William Penn, and McKendree is 8th at 72.10. The top 8 will move on to bracket match play, which is scheduled to start approximately noon Eastern time, if I remember correctly.
Match play?
Yes.
12:30.
12:30. 12:30 Eastern time.
So you get an extra half hour of time.
That's important.
It's very important.
Once more, Wisconsin-Whitewater 74-75, Wichita State 74-74. SCAD-Savannah 73-90, Calumet 73-54, Lindenwood 72-72. They are in 5th. Weber International 72-60 in 6th. William Penn 72-18 in 7th, and McKendree 72-10 in 8th. All numbers subject to change after this game is complete.
Savannah found some success on 73. Last time they were on there, shot 223. Off to a pretty solid start. Midland and Penn State-Berks are going to go ahead and start their third set. So we'll welcome them to BowlTV. Midland, the defending champion here at the Hoosier Classic.
See who's upcoming. Say hello to Ain, Sean, Mike. Again, Robert has been hanging with us today. Trending Tammy. Thanks Pablo for tuning in, asking some good questions. V. Rhodes. Mentioned Michael Savage. Justice. Stan Slowinski, rooting for, of course, the LMU Splitters. Sean's going to UW Whitewater. Well, probably a good decision on your part, Sean. Yeah, that's another program, Aaron, that I remember back when I was competing, and they just continue to move up the rankings and tops of tournament leaderboards, and slowly but surely. Now, even at this point, just putting up. I feel like the last 2 to 3 years we've said This is one of the best whitewater seasons, and then they keep improving on what they do.
That's definitely a testament to the great job the head coach Sean Walker does. I know a few years ago he lost, pretty much had to turn over the whole team just because had a strong upper class, and you know, with the way college works, 4 years in the program, and then that's it for eligibility. And you know, he had to turn over the roster, kind of had a bunch of fresh faces coming in, some sophomores and juniors having to step up into big roles, and what do you know, last year they nearly make the TV show at the Intercollegiate Team Championships. So I think that's just a testament to some of the strong players that have come out of that program. Nick Crummell, of course, comes to mind first in recent years. But yeah, a lot of players impressing in that bunch. Josh Pate had a very nice block yesterday. Been steady all year for the Warhawks. Ryan Winters, a junior Team USA member. They definitely have all the pieces there to be a team in the mix when it's all said and done. Sean, of course, not too shabby on the lanes himself. Past champion at Western Illinois.
Tea time.
.204 for Savannah College of Art and Design. Missouri Baptist 143 to conclude their second set. Third set already underway on 71 and 72. Midland and Penn State-Berks. Looks like Wisconsin-Madison and St. John's in the vicinity, so they should be starting up their third set pretty quickly here on 73 and 74. So we welcome in Wisconsin-Madison and St. John's. Midland and Penn State-Berks in the books with game number 1. 161 for the defending champions. Penn State 129. So they'll switch lanes heading into game 2. Just a reminder, after we finish up this final set, we'll turn the cameras off for probably less than an hour maybe, hour and a half, depending on how quickly we finish up. Before we're back at 12:30 p.m. Eastern for the men's bracket finals. Top 8 teams will be advancing from the 78-team field. Collegiate programs from all across the country joining here for the final regular season event of the USBC Collegiate season. As we start to look forward to the postseason coming up shortly, the sectional announcement show taking place on Wednesday right here on BowlTV. Sectionals March 9th through 11th for the team and singles portions, and then the ITCs and ISCs heading to Lincoln, Nebraska, Sun Valley Lanes, April 16th through the 21st. All right, folks in BowlTV land, we have just received an update on scores through 10 Baker games. We'll get it updated online as well as soon as we have that available, but the first to know, perks of watching BowlTV. For the first time all weekend, we have a new men's team leader. Wichita State shot 1,074 for their 5 Baker games in the second set. They now hold the overall lead over Wisconsin-Whitewater, 85-48. Whitewater at 85-16. Calumet, 83-93 in third. Savannah, College of Art and Design Savannah, who we saw in our last set, drops to fourth, 82-90. William Penn in fifth, 82-50. Weber International sixth, 81-92. McKendree seventh, 81-71. And Lindenwood holds on to that 8th spot, 81-49. First team out is Pikeville, 80-66. So that's a pretty sizable difference heading into this last block. Robert Morris, Illinois at 80-61. St. John's finishes up with 145. Wisconsin-Madison finishes with 140. Midland finishes game 2 with 174, 10th frame still to go.
11th place was wrong. So it's Notre Dame instead of whoever is in 11th. So
Penn State-Berks can get to 168. The big score in that second block was courtesy of Davenport, who had a pretty rough start, 702 for their first 5 games, but bounced back with 1081. They like that second pair a whole bunch more, to say the least. As we mentioned, Wichita State, 1,074. Wisconsin-Whitewater, 1,041. Calumet, 1,039. William Penn, 1,032. Arizona State shot 1,033. Wisconsin-Milwaukee, 1,028. Notre Dame, Ohio, 1,014. I think those were all the teams that were plus in games 6 through 10. 166, the final total for Penn State-Berks. They will switch lanes, move on to game number 3. So I mentioned Midland, the defending champion, currently sits at 16th place overall through 10 Baker games, 78-57. They're about 300 pins back of the cut, so would be a very tall order for the Warriors to make it back to the top 8. A few teams ahead of them as well. St. John's just missed out on the bracket last year, finishing in 9th place overall. Currently sitting in 14th, 79.09. About 250 pins back, looking to make a late charge here. Working on 5 in a row as they prepare for their 8th frame. Gotta take them when you get them. Nice break there in the 8th for 6 in a row. Ten pin stops St. John's run. After 6 strikes in a row. 257 still out there. With the spare conversion in all 3 in the 10th. we do have scores updated online now, so if you check out the description below the video, it should be in there. If it's not, you'll just have to refresh your screen. You're looking for Baker/overall standings. That is the place to be if you want to party. Have the latest and greatest tournament information. Nice cover of the 4-9 there in the 10th. St. John's will be able to get into the 230s. Nice 235 from St. John's. Wisconsin-Madison, 1 strike in the 10th already. 10-pin does not cooperate. Second shot, 179. Still out there for the Badgers. Approaching the twilight of Game 3 on 71 and 72, Midland and Penn State-Berks in the 10th frame. Midland at 1 at 56. Penn State-Berks, 3 strikes can give him to 1 at 62. .155 for Midland, at 140 Penn State-Berks in the books through 3. They'll be starting 4. Wisconsin-Madison, St. John's still in Game 3, hitting the halfway point. St. John's finding something here. Its final few games here at the Hoosier. 2:35 last game, and looking to get to 2 of 47 here. St. John was in 14th place, about 250 pins out of 8th. This is about all they can do at this point, strike and hope to put themselves in contention. Possibly hope for some help from the teams ahead of them. Mark it down, 247, St. John's. Question from Josh in the chat. Vincennes, a few pairs to our left, but they will not be making their way here to BowlTV. They were here yesterday during our traditional 6-game block. I think they were actually on for the very first game. There are 2 pairs to our left at the moment. This is it for qualifying. We got 2 more Baker games to go, and then it's time to tally up all the scores, figure out our top 8, and prepare for match play. You know, coming to a new pair, you never know what to expect. If you're lucky to have to be able to send a scout over there, kind of see where folks are playing. Always helpful, but sometimes you just got to go in and make your best guess and try to figure out what everyone had done before you. St. John's hopped on to 73 and 74 and shot 145. Their first game on 174. They've shot 235 and 247 since, working on 4 strikes in a row, looking for 5 right now. Nearly get the trip on the 6 pin there. They've made the adjustments, have gotten back to plus for this block, or this particular block so far, not quite in the overall standings.
Heard a lot of noise as well, Aaron, not in our immediate area, but a few pairs to our left. But generally, when you hear that, someone's trying to do something cool, make a run. It's about that time. There's been a few games now on the pattern, so there may or may not be some favorable areas, so depending on what pair you're on. Kind of going back to our earlier discussion about sometimes you just need to really hit a good pair. St. John's, as you mentioned, bouncing back from a 140 start and trying to make a run. Where are they currently?
14th heading into this block.
Never know.
Never know. Had their work cut out from them. About 250 pins back of the cut, but you just never know what everyone else is doing. Especially with 78 teams, that's really allows you to hone in on what you're doing. Focus on putting up the best effort you can. Continues to storm here in Indiana. Red Storm, St. John's.
Nicely done.
It was killing me because I didn't want to look it up because I knew it was red something. I'm like, what is it? I've been trying to think of it for 2 games and I've just been stubborn. Like, gotta bust it out. St. John's, 250 out here.
I'm glad you did look it up, Aaron. Probably be a lot of angry folks.
If I would have got it wrong, yes. Nobody wants that.
No. The great St. John's teams of the early 2000s would be upset with you.
We were talking about that yesterday for a brief second. Who's that with? That was with Jim Callahan, right?
Yes. Andy Lamanto, Ian Lang, Mike Fagan. Just to name a couple.
Back-to-back 247s for the Red Storm. It's gotten him to plus 74 for this block.
Shout out to Adam Chase and Mike Wadzinski. Fun times bowling with those gentlemen in college.
Adam Chase, a past singles champion.
Final nugget on St. John's. Chris Mullen would be upset with you too.
Mully.
And Mark Jackson.
I'd be more upset with Mullen than Jackson. Yeah, Dream Team. Yeah, 92 Olympics. Yeah, Barcelona. That was all very random.
That's what we do.
That's what we're good for. Mostly me. You have the good nuggets of information. I just throw random stuff out there, hope it sticks. If I can get a chuckle out of you, that's always a win.
Only thing we really hope is that someone knows what we're talking about.
That also goes a long way. All right, one more shot here. Game 4 for Wisconsin-Madison. And both pairs will be on game number 5. 168 finish for the Badgers.
Fellas, as we start wrapping things up, make sure you bring the green recap and also the USBC recap and team lineup for who's here at the counter or to the tournament office. One of the staff is really
As we start to wind down here, some pairs already finishing up. I think it's time to take into account that for some of these student athletes, this is it. For these teams that may not be advancing to the postseason, for those seniors, final few opportunities to represent their school here on the lanes.
It is a very, very difficult feeling to kind of cope with, realize when it is the last event, whenever it happens. It's almost in an instant, all of the memories, the years, and the sacrifices and practices and all of the above just kind of flash right in front. Always a little emotion.
I think that's what some of the louder cheers we heard coming from our left. Game-wise, wasn't necessarily a big score, but you know, for a player possibly finishing out their career on a strike, that's the way to do it.
Once again, another quick reminder, coaches, we will need your green score sheets plus your USBC recap and team lineup form. And you can drop those off to me here at the counter.
Aaron, I think you should go back to college bowling.
Go back to college bowling. Means I probably have to bowl more than once a week, right?
Yes.
I have to go back to class.
Yes.
What, could I be like Rodney Dangerfield?
Sure.
Pull out the triple Lindy. Yeah, 80s movie reference.
Take some, go to grad school, get your, maybe have just class once a week.
How about that?
Maybe it might be like 9 hours.
Seems like a lot of work. Have to find the right motivation and dedication. To those folks who pull that off, more power to you. Much respect. Penn State-Berks finishes up with 180. Midland looking to get to 171.
Robert, thanks for watching this weekend. Hope you learned some cool things. Subscribe to BowlTV. Comment on some other videos. Take a look at Earl's Journey to 900. Comment on that. And don't forget the archives will be available.
.157 finish for Midland, 199 for St. John's, so they'll finish at plus 73 for this 5-game block. Don't think it's going to be enough to get them into the top 8, but you never know. We're about 250 pins back, so would have needed a lot of help. Wisconsin-Madison finishes up with a 178. All right, folks, with our featured pairs in the books, we are going to go ahead and start preparing for the upcoming Baker Bracket Final on the men's side. As soon as we know our 8 teams, we'll make a post on social media. Of course, you can follow the Hoosier Classic on Facebook as well. They've been updating it all day. Big shout out to H2M Management, their entire team. Nick, other Nick, Dylan, Steve, Bo, all those guys making this event so great year in and year out. Of course, Western Bowl. All the parents supporting here on site and in the chat. Of course, all the fans here on BowlTV. Of course, the student athletes here for giving us a show as always. So we'll be back here live 12:30 p.m. Eastern. So it's going to be about an hour and a half. Top 8 teams. Best of 3 Baker for the first 2 rounds, or best of 3 Baker. Yeah, that's right. For the first 2 rounds, and best of 5 for the championship match, and we will know who's going to win the men's title. Women's matches coming up at 4 p.m. But that's going to do it for now. The 49th annual Hoosier Classic 2018 edition, Western Bowl, Indianapolis, Indiana. So for Emil Williams Jr., I'm Aaron Smith. I'm going to shut down. But we'll be back here, hour and a half, 90 minutes, to all the good stuff. So thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you soon here on BowlTV.